Welcome to It's Giving Tree, the podcast that nobody asked for, but I insisted on giving anyway. It's giving everything I've ever wanted to talk about. I'm your host, Tree, and you can find me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/treejpg, and catch up everywhere else on YouTube and TikTok. Now, sit back, relax, and let's get into the dirty details. It's giving, let's talk about me. So I was born on Guam, which is a little island to the west of Hawaii and to the east of the Philippines and Japan. So if you're looking at a map, you'll find us somewhere in the middle. I wasn't raised there though. When I was about 1 or 2, I don't really know the exact timeline. Forgive me, I was a baby. My parents moved into the United States proper, and my dad was in the Coast Guard for a while, so we moved pretty much everywhere. I have very brief memories as like a little kid, little blips where I was like, yeah, we were in Massachusetts. Oh, we definitely lived in Washington State, in Tacoma at some point. Oh, and like we were at these places in California too, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And that continued along for most of my life. Even when my dad got out of the Coast Guard, we would still be constantly traveling and changing states, trying to find our home, I guess. And somewhere in between there, when I was in middle school, I started to realize that I was gay. I liked boys, even though they were stinky, smelly, and mostly mean to me. I don't know why I chose that. I would definitely not recommend being gay because men are disgusting and gross. But at the same time, if you're gay, you're gay. Happy Pride Month. But yeah, somewhere along in middle school and high school, I just kind of figured it out. I was like, okay, this is who I am. And then later on, gender started being part of that soup, and I realized that I was non-binary. So nowadays, I kind of just talk about how I'm like gay and non-binary. I use they, he pronouns, and if you have any questions, please don't ask them because I cannot provide you the answers. They just feel right. But yeah, like growing up, I was definitely defined by navigating multiple worlds and different identities. And so when I figured out what I wanted to do, which is create content on the internet, I wanted to do something that could be something I could identify with, because I am part of so many minority communities, both being from Guam, being gay, being non-binary, and then finding a microcosm within that microcosm that I fit into. So I decided that it would be best to be a VTuber after a few years of like using my real face. I decided like, okay, no, what I want presented to people is this character. And for people that don't know what VTubers are, it's a portmanteau of virtual YouTuber. We're not limited to YouTube, but that was kind of where it all started. VTubers are digital avatars or characters that represent real people. These animations, what you see on the screen, if you're on YouTube, that is my VTuber model. And this is how I feel the most comfortable showcasing myself on the internet, my personality, my creativity, what talent I do have. I hope I have talent. This is how I like to show it. So it was important for me with this VTuber model, to this persona, to embrace my queer identity, and to also represent where I come from a little bit, just by like the color of my VTube model's skin. Because when I was initially like brainstorming, for the longest time I was like, why do I always want to see myself as white? Why do I want to see my character be pale? And I was looking in the mirror and I was just like, do I feel more like a white person than the brown person that I am? And I figured, no, I don't. And I wanted to represent my Asian Pacific Islander heritage that way by showing off the color of my skin or having it represented this way. And my hope as a content creator is to celebrate everyone's individuality, what makes them them, to create a community of weirdos and freaks and what have you. Make a sanctuary for those who feel like they don't fit the mold. As for my inspirations, I'm heavily inspired by two things in my life, I think, and that is Beyonce and drag culture, or more exactly, the transformative power of drag artists and the drive to get things done and to make what you see in the world real. And honestly, one of the things that has always stuck with me when I am streaming online or trying to create content is that this persona, what you see as Tree, it's my personal armor. You can't hurt me because you don't know me. What you get is what you see. And you don't get to judge me on a deeper level than what I put out there. So this is like a really good way for me to tap into my creativity and to create a connection with the world in a way that I feel comfortable, so that way I can have both my private life and my public life. I'm basically Hannah Montana-ing myself. At least that's like how I like to see it. So I also want to talk about how embracing my queer identity in the streaming world is very important to me. Like, how does your queer identity influence your streaming content and community interactions? So for me, as I am continuing to grow, I would like to create a space that is both welcoming and safe for all viewers, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Something that I don't think is talked about often in the queer community is the way that even though the alphabet mafia is essentially thrown into a soup and we're told that we're a community, a lot of the times we don't exactly act like it. We have these habits of only accepting the people that we perceive to have the same struggle as us. So there will be like animosity between gay and lesbian people, animosity between the cisgender and the trans members of the community. There's dialogue about how trans and asexual people shouldn't be part of the community itself because they don't fall under the same like sexual orientation and gender identity in the way that the rest of us do. And so for a community that is supposed to be very inclusive, I find it to be very exclusive in a lot of ways. So my goal is to create a place for everyone in those realms, as long as like they want to be there. I want them to be comfortable in their own skin. Um, and I strive to like incorporate LGBTQ themed games, art, or topics into my streams. I'm very open about discussing what makes me me and also why the person that you are is beautiful because it's different from me. And I try to just keep that kind of light, that kind of emotional support always open and active. I am a bit perverted on stream though, so like there'll be moments when I am like getting really really deep into like the emotional like how can you be accepted into the world, and then I'll end the sentence with like penis or something, and it can be a little like jarring, but it is what I do. It's what I like to do. But yeah, I want to foster a sense of belonging and connection among my viewers, especially those who may feel marginalized, especially those people, because I identify within that. There are definitely challenges to being openly queer in the streaming space. I'm not a stranger to facing discrimination or harassment or trolling from viewers. Um, I've I've had people go into my chat and then bomb me with like a bunch of hate or like really triggering images, and like that shit's hard when it happens. One of the ones that sticks out to me is like it happened like just what, a month or 2 months ago, and someone went into my Discord server and started spamming really really graphic imagery and saying that I would never be a woman, and a lot of other like transphobic remarks. And while it was terrifying and horrible when it was happening, when the dust settled, I kind of just sat there and was like, so I was being discriminated for being trans, except I'm not trans. I use he, they pronouns, sure, but I don't want to be a woman. And this person was just trolling me and saying that I'll never be one. And it's like, you're right, I don't want to be one. But yeah, it's interesting how like talking about these kinds of subjects makes you vulnerable to those types of attacks. But on the other side of the coin, I've also experienced some triumphs, which is building a supportive community that celebrates diversity and inclusivity. So even though there are people that like hate what I am and what I represent, there are also people in the community that are just like, I don't really care, I'm just here for the fun, you know? And that's very gratifying to me. I love when people come into the chat and are like aware of like how they should be acting, but are also like, it doesn't really affect me, so why should it bother me? That's the ideal. I've loved talking to viewers and having them share their stories with me. I love sharing what happened to me as well, and to offer support and resources. I know that in my Twitch chat, I've got a lifeline, like if you are experiencing extreme depression or whatever, based off of your location in the world, you can contact these numbers to get support. And I think making sure that that kind of stuff is readily available for people is very important. And while it's getting better on Twitch, I do want to see more front runners in Twitch that belong to the community. I know that there are VTubers like Shoto that are like openly bisexual, and you're seeing it more with VTubers in general, where they can represent different genders and sexualities in a way and be able to still foster a community. But I still want more, because representation allows viewers to see themselves reflected in these streamers. It makes their experiences in the world seem valid, that they have, it gives them a sense of belonging, and it fosters further empathy and understanding for the people that are different from them, because now they have people that they belong to. So, like, being able to see diverse voices, experiences, and perspectives is so essential in the streaming community. I want to be an integral part of that one day, in my own way. I don't know. I don't have like extreme grandiose dreams of, you know, I'm not planning to or have the perception that I'll ever be as big as someone like Pokimane or XQC or what have you. No, but I'd like to create my own little pocket in the world that makes sense for me and is strong. So, I guess it would be good to cover what exactly I do on Twitch. So, I've always had a passion for video games. I loved JRPGs growing up, or Japanese role-playing games like Final Fantasy. I would play like ROMs on my phone of like Final Fantasy 3 and 4 and 6, and I wouldn't really be able to get the full experience because it was just like some shady hack that was put on like the Android market at the time, but it allowed me to like gain a love for this type of storytelling and the art form that I believe gaming is. So when I'm gaming, I tend to definitely go for experiences that have emotional impact, branching narratives. It's a plus whenever there's something LGBT happening in my video game, because like that's just chef's kiss, great content. 10 out of 10. I'm very pleased whenever I see a hot man on the screen. But yeah, so I stream video games primarily, and when I'm not doing like narrative based games, I'll play things like Warframe. I've really got into Wuthering Waves recently, and it's something that I definitely want to talk about more in a future episode. And I have also been a player of League of Legends for like 10 plus years. And what's funny about that is like I'm still not good at that game. It's been 10 years and I have not improved. But it's fun. It's how I can meet people and have friends, and it helps me enjoy my existence more. And I hope in the future that like I can get like 50 to 100 concurrent viewers. Right now I'm starting to hit around like on average 10, which is really nice. It makes me feel like a real streamer, because for the longest time I would get 2 or 4 if I was lucky, and now being able to like finally hit 10, I'm at like around 420 followers, almost 500. It feels like I can create more content and engage with people in ways that is that I once thought was impossible for me, but now I think is extremely possible and within my reach. I just need to keep trying. Um, I'd love to collaborate with other creators on other projects. I am part of a stream team. It's called Unfocused Misfits. Um, and they're all very lovely, lovely people who, um, gosh, the energy does get a little chaotic in that stream team, because of how unfocused they are. But it's nice to have that sense of belonging in on Twitch, and to, you know, maybe one day broaden my horizons even further. I'm always trying to improve my streaming quality content. I remember I would be teased all the time for not reading my chat when I started actually getting more people in there. And honestly, it was because like I had done it for like 2-3 years already, and I wasn't used to having chatters actively. I didn't, it was new to me to have to be like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Because it just wasn't happening. So I remember getting teased about that a lot, and I try to be better about it. I try to interact as much as possible while still like maintaining the balance of like actually doing content instead of just talking to my friends in my chat. But it's fun either way, and I hope to do more. I'm very excited to launch this podcast. I want to stick with it as much as possible, create an episode a week, get this launched further on YouTube and TikTok. I don't know, it makes my heart so happy thinking about it, thinking like this is possible for me and I can do it. And yeah, I don't know, I'm all smiley and shit right now just thinking about myself and my goals. But yeah, like honestly, like I'm happy with what I've got so far. I have aspirations for more. So it really is super helpful if any of you want to like follow or subscribe to my channel here on Spotify, or follow me on Twitch at treejpg for more updates. I have a Ko-fi. I have a throne. I'd love to see you guys participating in live streams with me and engaging with me. And we also have a community Discord where we got a few lovely people saying good morning every day, and it's nice and makes my heart very happy. And yeah, like this is everything that I want to do with my life. I want to keep creating and doing more and sharing more parts of me while using this VTuber model as a vehicle for that. And I just hope that you guys are looking forward to more from me the same way that I'm looking forward to creating more for you. I don't know. So, thank you for tuning into the first real episode of It's Giving Tree. If you want to connect with me beyond the podcast, once again, you can find me on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube at treejpg, and on Twitter at treepng. Stay tuned for future episodes of It's Giving Tree, where we'll dive into more topics, share more stories, and hopefully I continue to grow on you. Bye-bye!